Today we're going to be talking about diabetes, and we're going to be seeing the connection between nutrition and diabetes. And joining us today is Pastor Prince Baidu, and he's the head of Dietary unit at the Tema General Hospital and governing board member of Ghana Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics. Hello, sir.
Hello, Chris.
How are you?
I'm doing well.
All right, so today you're not in the studio with me. You're joining us via Zoom. We kind of miss you in the
Sure.
studio, but still, you are welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, so diabetes, everybody talks about diabetes. Almost everybody knows what diabetes is about because it's one of, the problems that affect a lot of people around us. And it's become a problem because we see the harm it actually causes if not well taken care of. But now, what is the connection between diabetes and then nutrition?
All right. So thank you very much. I think, like you said, it's important that we restate the what we are discussing, the diabetes, what it's all about, right? So, and I think the question you just asked is very key. Diabetes is a disease which does not allow a person to use the glucose. That is, when we eat anything carbohydrates. So if you take your cocoa, you take your pose, you take your banku, or you eat anything bread, the body breaks it down into the tiniest portion, which is the glucose. And normally it moves from your stomach to your intestines. It goes into your blood. And when the glucose goes to the blood, it needs to be moved from the blood to your cells. So that is where the body uses the glucose to generate energy.
Right.
So we say someone has diabetes when after you have finished eating and the food has moved into the blood, the glucose we have a difficulty. The body has a difficulty in moving the glucose from your blood to the cells where energy will be generated for your day-to-day activities. So that is where that is what diabetes is about. So the link between diabetes and nutrition is that we have identified the causes of diabetes. So we have genetics, we have overweight, people who are adding more weight, and we have what we usually will refer to as inactivity, people who are not moving. They are sitting at one place, they don't walk, they don't have any form of physical activity. And these are three key causes of diabetes. And we also have unhealthy eating. People just put anything together and they eat. So for genetics, we cannot do much about it. If you have a gene that may give you diabetes, you may have acquired this from your mother's side or your father's side. But the diabetes gene, the fact that you have the diabetes gene will not necessarily mean you may be diabetic. So your activities, if you decide to eat foods that are not healthy, if you decide to pile up a lot of weight, and if you decide to be inactive, you will not do any work, then we can say that you are pushing yourself into having diabetes. And especially if you have the gene that causes diabetes, then we can be emphatic or 95% sure that with time you can become diabetic.
Right. So what are the key dietary considerations for people with diabetes?
Yeah, so I think with the background I gave, you realize that when you are not diabetic, we normally will say, and I want to use this opportunity because we are in the Diabetes Awareness Month. Our desire is that people don't get there, right? So if you are listening to us now and you are eating, make sure that your meals have a lot of fiber in them, so that if I say fiber, we don't want you to eat foods that they have processed so much. So pastries, if you want to take any meal that they have taken the chaff out of it, if you don't add a lot of vegetables to your food, you don't include fruits in your food, then we will categorize you under the banner of unhealthy eaters. And once you know that the food you eat is not healthy, your risk of having diabetes will be increasing. It's high. Now, if you have been diagnosed with diabetes already, it is very, very important that the same thing we are recommending that you must do not to have diabetes, you have to now move back to it. You have to stop eating foods that are ultra processed. So processed foods. If you have to take anything with corn, take corn itself. Use it for your banku, use it for your cocoa and other things. But if they have processed the corn, taken some of the chaff out, and they have used it to do flakes or something, then it will not be good for you when you are diabetic. We want you to eat small meals at specified times. Diabetics are supposed to eat at specified times. So you don't eat as and when you want to eat, but you have to allocate time in the morning you eat, time in the afternoon you eat, time in the evening you eat. And it is important that this point is made. Diabetics eat the meals we have, yes. our general foods we have in Ghana, brown rice, wheat, our corn and their products, with the vegetables we have kontomire, boma, alefu, boko boko, and if you have the exotic ones, carrots and cabbage and all those ones, you can include them to make healthy meals and eat them. So it's not that diabetics have some food that are somewhere that they would have to pick and eat, but they eat within the food context we have in our society. But what we say is that when you are picking the food, put the natural foods we have together to make your meals. Don't rely on processed foods. They usually have a lot of carbohydrates that will give you a lot of glucose that your body cannot manage. Because if you have diabetes, what we are saying is that it's either that your insulin, that hormone that manages your glucose, that opens your body up so that the glucose can move from the blood into your body. That hormone is either ineffective or the quantity has been reduced, or you don't have some at all, right? And everybody who has been diagnosed as diabetic must go to the hospital. The person must be managed by a doctor, and you must see your dietitian so that your food will also be planned for you. It's very, very important, because no two people who have diabetes eat the same way, because you have different body makeup, we have different preferences. So if you have the dietitian with you, he has been trained to know your preference, how they can gel your preferences and the food available in your environment to help you to eat healthily and maintain your blood sugar at the right level.
Right. Okay, I have seen cases where people have actually reversed their diabetes, and I don't know how possible that is, and especially with food that they eat and how they eat. When it comes to portion control, how important is portion control to someone with diabetes?
Great. So normally, especially when we have a newly diagnosed diabetes, usually what happens is that the person will be, once you are newly diagnosed, you see that your doctor will refer you to your dietitian. And normally what we do is that we will put you on a very low carbohydrate diet. That particular diet that newly diagnosed diabetics are put on is showing a lot of promise. It's showing a lot of promise. Many people are what we usually will refer to as are having remission when they are diagnosed early and they are placed on the very low carbohydrate diet. So yes, when we see it early, we've seen a lot of cases where timely intervention with reduced carbohydrate diet has rejuvenated the body, and the insulin level and the insulin activity has improved, and people are living very healthy. Yes. Now, with those who, sometimes people will have diabetes and we wouldn't know when they had it. So by the time they get to the hospital, they might have had it for a long time. The pancreas have reduced its, the strength of the pancreas has reduced, the amount of insulin that is produced has reduced. And when that has happened already, portion control becomes also important, because we assess the person and give a balanced meal that will not pump so much glucose into the blood, so that the little insulin, the little strength the pancreas had, or the insulin that it produces has, can manage the person, so that the sugar will not rise so high that the person will get into complications like kidney disease, failure of the eye, or eye conditions, and maybe even affecting their limbs, having sores at the foot, which may result in amputations, or even getting to a place where the person may even become impotent. So these are the complications we want to guard against. So whether you are newly diagnosed or you have had it over time, we can still help you so that you can live your life or keep your quality of life and live a peaceful life and contribute to our economy as well.
All right. Thank you so much, Pastor Prince Baidu, who is a registered dietitian, head of the therapy unit at Tema General Hospital, and governing board member of the Ghana Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics. And where can people reach out to you?
Right. So I am at I run a diet and wellness program also for individuals and companies at Diet and Diet Consult. And as you introduced me, I'm also at Tema General Hospital. You can reach me in both places.
All right. Thank you so much. It was really nice talking to you. So, ladies and gentlemen, that was our nutrition segment, and we were talking about the link between nutrition and diabetes. And of course, you know, this month is all about diabetes awareness. I hope you're taking care of yourself. Try to eat in good portions, exercise, and of course, do the right things so you do not, you know, fall into that loop of diabetes. And if you're already there, try to eat well, try to exercise, and try to take care of yourself.